Assalamualaikum semua, my name is Dew Sofi and welcome back to the Weekly Dean Show. Today's episode is going to be very, very special. It's going to be a very deep episode, so I would like to keep this introduction short. To keep it short, today we're going to draw the line between devotion and extremism. Basically, we what you're going to watch later is an ustad who met people who are radicalized,
Right, yes.
What they believe in, what they think should happen, and why they do these types of things.
Yeah, and we've seen the headlines over the years, individuals getting self-radicalized or falling into extremist rabbit holes. It's often fueled by misunderstood sense of religious duty. So, today we're going to ask the uncomfortable questions about self-radicalization and if there's a surge due to social media.
But before we do that, we're going to go on the street and ask people what do they think makes a radicalized Muslim.
The Weekly Dean Show supports PERTAPIS and their meaningful mission. So in this month of Ramadan, please do support their meaningful work. Check them out at pertapis.org.sg.
Hi guys, I'm Nadira and this is Mike. So today we are on the streets asking people on what do they think makes a radical Muslim radical. Let's What do you think makes a radical Muslim radical?
I think what makes a radical Muslim radical?
I think what makes a radical Muslim radical is like when they manipulate certain verses of the Quran to fit their own radical beliefs that are also not ethically correct in any manner or sense.
Whatever you say.
I think in Singapore context, right, a lot of people misconcept about being like in Islam, being a Muslim, as in like extremist, something like that. So like extremist to them is like hari-hari solat 5 waktus and then always berpuasa, sunat like Isnin Khamis and all. But actually that is the reality of how a Muslim life is like.
I think based on real life experience, I do have a friend, my friend's mother, that doesn't want to go out of the house and doesn't want to work just because she don't want to meet someone of the opposite gender.
So solat 5 waktu is wajib. It's everything you have to do. Puasa is also wajib, especially time bulan Ramadan. Of course, there's all the sunnahs and all. So sunnahs as in like daily sunnahs that I feel like we can do, like such as like smiling every day to strangers and all. So there are some examples lah.
So for me is where so basically if they are more like taksub in this thing, so basically like these recent cases where the ISD have found like this kid, he did like a radical scene in Roblox. Then after that, in a Roblox, and when the ISD find out about it, I think the kid went to rehab lah. Yeah, I think we must be cautious on what we giving our children. So basically, what they have intake from the media itself, that part we must be cautious lah. As a parent, I think we are supervised to be more to inclusive on what they are doing. Yeah.
So that's what the streets has to say about what makes a radical Muslim radical. What do you guys think? Back to you.
Joining us today is someone who spends his life in the front line of this issue. He is the Secretary and Counsellor of the Religious Rehabilitation Group. Pelat. He is the Secretary and Counsellor of the Religious Rehabilitation Group for over 2 decades and Research Fellow at Rajaratnam School of International Studies, who specializes in counter ideology. And he also recently authored a critical piece on dismantling the false ba'aya
Good.
used by extremists. Let me repeat that. He recently authored a critical piece of this. He recently authored a critical piece of dismantling the false ba'aya used by extremists. Please welcome Ustad Dr. Muhammad Faizal bin Muhammad Hassan.
Hello.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Today, we're going to talk about extremism in Singapore, right? I think what interests me in your introduction, or what I just read, is that you wrote a critical piece on dismantling the false ba'aya used by extremists. I think to start this conversation is, based on the Singapore context, and when you experience extremists, right? What sorts of things do they rewrite for themselves when it comes to the religion?
First, Assalamualaikum, Dew and Sofi. So, first and foremost, when we talk about radicalization, extremism in Singapore, so there's a few dynamics that we need to understand first. So, first and foremost, there's group dynamics of extremism. There's also self-radicalized individuals. So, these are basically what has been in Singapore for the past since 9/11.
Okay.
Were you guys around 9/11?
Yes, I was.
No, I
were?
wasn't.
I was
You wasn't, okay.
primary 3, I think.
Three?
Yeah.
Do you have any memories of it?
Memory.
Yes, it was during math class, and then my teacher ran in and said, I don't know if you guys will understand this because we are too young, right?
Yeah.
And he said, oh, there was a terrorist attack in the US and it's causing a lot of ruckus. The Twin Towers fell.
She said it during class?
Yeah. It happened during the afternoon
class.
when the whole thing fell.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Because it was something like quite extraordinary, right? At that time, right? It was live on TV.
Yes.
So this reality of something that big,
Yeah.
Yeah, just going
and I
to the
think
ground.
the effects of that affected a lot of Muslims as well. I mean, up to today, right?
exactly.
When we travel and everything.
Exactly.
And at that point of time, there were a lot of Muslims who traveled,
Exactly.
and everyone was deemed.
Exactly.
terrorists,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's the biggest problem. See, so why do we need to talk about this kind of topic? Because it has reached to that extent of it received international infamy, in that sense, right?
Yeah.
So when in Singapore, so about 6 months after that attack, Twin Tower attack, the government uncovered in one of the caves in Afghanistan a map of Yishun MRT.
God damn.
So you just imagine,
Yishun MRT?
yeah, but in Afghanistan, right?
Afghanistan.
So it was quite shocking that the government found out that, and then due to that, there were investigations finding there is a particular group in Singapore working clandestine underground in homes, teaching people this kind of ideology that represented the agenda, the struggles that they want to. That group then was known as Jemaah Islamiyah.
Yeah.
So we had Jemaah Islamiyah in Singapore, and Jemaah Islamiyah was not only represented in Singapore, it was sort of the Southeast Asia network of radicals and terrorist groups aiming for a caliphate within Southeast Asia. So that was the aim of what they wanted at that time, right?
Okay.
So we went through that. So after about 6-7 months after that, a few of them were caught in Singapore, detained in Singapore. So first, when we were detained, we are a secular society, it's a secular government. So government found out that there were elements of ideologies based upon what they wanted to do, right? So it was not only a political movement, it was also a religious movement. So with regards to tackling religious ideas, the government couldn't do it because it's secular government, right? So the government at that time met a few of our senior asatizah. So at that time was the late Ustaz Ali, our current co-chairman, Ustaz Hazbi. So they met them and shared with them this story of Jemaah Islamiyah. Of course, it was shock for the Ustaz itself, right? Because it was not something mainstream for Muslims to know this.
Yeah.
So at one, we are facing the Islamophobia of what happened in America.
Yeah.
At the same time, now we are discovering there's something within our homes, right?
Yeah.
Of within Islam itself, the Muslim community itself.
Yeah.
So the government were able to let Ustaz Ali, Ustaz Hazbi to actually meet with the detainees in detention, and they themselves were shocked to see that the Islam that they understood were not
What we understand.
what we understand and were taught in schools, right?
Yeah.
So there were several concepts and all. So they decided after that, those initial days meetings, they decided to form this rehabilitation group, in the sense to help the detainees to re-understand Islam. So that was how it started in Singapore, in terms of how deep it became. And we have been doing it for the past 20 years. We thought we stopped at GI. Then there were what we call DIYs.
Okay.
So they became radicals on their own, you know.
Self-radicalized individuals.
Self-radicalized individuals. It was online. You know, these are things that they read and then they believe, right?
Yeah.
And then we have the big one, ISIS. So JI wanted to do a regional caliphate. ISIS wanted to do a global caliphate.
Yeah.
So it expanded in that sense. So until today, we're still fighting this.
When you say back to the Yishun map, right? Does this have to do with the suspected Yishun bombing? Yishun MRT bombing a very long time ago?
Yeah. Basically, they wanted to do that, you see. So there was several targets that they wanted. One of it was the water pipeline from Johor, Causeway.
Yeah.
So we had that huge water pipeline, right? So they wanted to bomb that so that there would be disruption and chaos. So it was that aim of chaos. So with chaos, there come, saviors and all.
Yeah. I mean, by doing all of this, right, what do you think is the main message that they're trying to send? Or what change do they want to see? I mean, with all big actions that I want to take, right? I mean, up to today, I still don't know why 9/11 happened. I mean, there's a lot of conspiracy theories, right?
Of course.
And a lot of people say it was for Islamophobia to be formed.
Of course.
I kind of believe that. I also kind of don't believe that because it's too big of a risk.
Right.
You're bringing down two buildings,
Yep.
But in Singapore context, right? Let's not talk about the global context, right? What kind of change do these extremists want to see, actually?
I think we kind from the fact that we are living in a world of virtual reality and online reality, where we also have a physical reality, right? So we can't run away from conspiracy. At the same time, we can't away from reality, right? So that things happen. So when things happen, so it means we need to address those things that happen, right? Well, at the same time, there's a percentage in our mind that wants to deal with this conspiracies. But let us put conspiracy at the side for a while, right?
Okay.
So we are looking at, is there a problem now that we're facing? So currently, have we met people who are radicals? If you ask ROG members, there's about 40 of us. Most of us have met them in detention, out of detention, their family members and all. So our point is that, is this due to conspiracy? Or is this due to the fact that they had learned something radical using Islam? So we have met these kind of people. So there's that reality of people who have believed that Islam equates to suicide bombings. Right?
Yeah.
It is part of the message of concepts of istimata. In their belief, istishhad, searching for death. Because for them that is their fastest track to heaven, right? For example, right? So they see that as their belief. So we are handling that. So what do they want to achieve? So there's a personal goal that they want to achieve. Of course, the easiest path to heaven or to wherever they want to go. At the same time, there's a group dynamics whereby they want to create against political system. Like they don't believe in Western democracy, they don't believe in capitalism, they don't believe in all these kind of things. So they believe that the Islamic system is the best system, right? But this Islamic system is based on their own interpretation.
Yeah.
So that is where the problem lies. So basically, if the question is what do they want to achieve, there's a personal aspect, there's a global group aspect.
Yeah.
What do you want to achieve?
Do you think social media has increased the number of self-radicalization?
Interestingly, so we thought when we started with Jemaah Islamiyah, right? So we thought after Jemaah Islamiyah, there's at least 40, 50 people, let's say, for example, right? Then it will end.
Yeah.
Sadly for us, we've still been doing it until today, right? Why? Partly social media. I'll just take you an example. We had one case in Singapore, a boy, a secondary student, went online, live streaming online, and brought the ISIS flag, the black flag, and then went to Coney Island, and then he just declared that is his caliphate. Online live stream with his friends watching, like,
Oh my God.
at home,
Gosh.
That happened in Singapore. Like for us, it doesn't make sense, like, and you do not want your brothers or your sisters or your children, to have that kind of Islam, right? That festered them. And of course, for sure, he did not learn this in any of our mosques in Singapore,
Definitely
right?
not.
Definitely not, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
where? Social media.
Yeah.
So this is where that he obtained all those kind of information that molded him to understand that is right Islam.
Yeah. When you see these people, right? I mean, it might be a very rude question to ask or bad question to ask, but I learned from a very credible source that 70% of men in prison all have ADHD. Right? So when you see these people who have a different idea of Islam, do they have any mental illnesses, or are they mentally challenged, or are they all perfectly sound?
Okay. The approach that we do in Singapore, there's three aspects, right? So there's that religious aspect being done by Ustazah. There's the psychological aspect being done by a psychologist from the Ministry of Home Affairs. And then we have the case officers that looks into each particular case, right? So for me as an Ustaz, to say whether they have ADHD, I'm not qualified, to say that, right?
Okay.
Of course, it falls under the psychologist frame of work. But what I have found out for the past years of doing it, there's this, it's easy to say that there's psychological problems. It's easy to say, right? Because this is what our world is all about now. If something is wrong, there's mental health. Right?
Yeah.
So that is, we're not saying that there is nothing of that sort.
Yeah.
For sure there is, right? But at the same time, if let's say we do not look at mental health first as an avenue to put our sorrows into, right? We already have, as individuals, our own yearnings, right?
Yeah.
So it's not even mental health, right?
Yeah.
It's yearnings, right? So you have your personal goals, right?
Yeah.
You have your personal goals. It does not mean that all goals are achievable, right? So it depends on how do we deal with what we want to achieve in this world.
Yeah.
So that if the term can be used, that spiritual quest, right? Is inherent in every human being.
Yeah.
So if we equate it only to mental health, so ADHD could be that part of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, for me, let us also look at the innate, natural thing that every human beings have. No, it's not an ailment, it's a quest.
Yeah. So to say mental health isn't a causation of radicalization, I think it's more of, it happens. Perhaps people with ADHD or people with mental health problems do tend to be more prone to radicalization.
Or not even.
Or
not even.
Not
There's
even.
no
It really
one single
depends.
profile, right?
Yeah, I don't think we can compare with absolutes, but I think
yeah.
it's really more of what they desire in the first
Then-
place.
Doesn't it sound like they just want to belong? Or representation?
I think one of the things about our time now, right? Okay, we are not talking even about the radicals. Let us talk about us human beings, right? Trying to be normal, right?
Yeah.
We are living in a time where normalcy, how do you define common sense now?
Based
Common
on
sense.
What is common sense to you? What is common sense to you?
I think common sense means following the status quo, following whatever everyone else is doing.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
I think
Because
it's
it's in
similar.
the word itself, it's common sense. Like
Yeah,
you
but
would,
who defines common?
I think it's very
The society.
yeah.
But the challenge is now, there's virtual reality that is defining a certain common sense.
Yeah.
There's home reality
Yeah.
that is defining whatever common sense, right? There's school dynamics, right? There's political realities that you're looking at.
Yeah.
There's religious realities that you're looking at. Globalization have brought us into this sort of a great mess, in that sense, right? Of us in this jigsaw puzzle, all of us are searching for that sense,
Of belonging. Where do I categorize myself
right?
in?
So it's like everybody's searching for this,
Yeah.
yet there is no one particular school that say this is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So you can end up somewhere else. I could end up somewhere else. You could end up somewhere else, right? So the challenge for us now is that how do we bring all our senses to that common good? Like that is a challenge right now.
Yeah.
Dulu before maybe when people who live in kampung, the common sense of that kampung living is much easier in a sense, right?
Yeah.
When we started going into HDB blocks, right? So the common sense of the children is that playing football under the void deck was common, right?
Yeah.
But then people start stopping it because
Yeah.
of the noise and all. Now
Now it's
pickleball,
not.
right?
Now if you play football under the block, you have no common sense.
Yeah.
Because it's noisy. The balls will mark the walls and everything.
So it has changed, right?
Yeah.
Just within 30 years, things have changed to that extent that. So where is our common playing field?
Yeah. I think to find common sense, it really depends on the time and the era, because I feel like now kids these days, they don't know what common sense is like. Or probably common sense to them is very different from the kids let's say 30 years in the past,
Exactly.
or like 40 years in the past.
Exactly. And-
So I would understand why it's really hard to find a common ground with everyone. Like everyone wants to find common sense and
Exactly.
belonging, but there's so many different
So
realities
at
now.
the same time, we still need to find us,
Yeah.
right? So who's guiding us? So now this is part of why radicalization could happen, you see, because there's emptiness, right?
Yeah.
So not everybody has that mind or that passion to find, but at the same time, the yearning is there, it's present in all human beings.
Why instead of religion, I mean, there's so many things. Okay, now let's say I want a sense of belongings. I will take a look at a few things, right? I think firstly is categorization of race. Maybe I find people who are similar race to me, maybe I might find belonging there. Can be anything, communities, sports, whatever it is. Why would they choose religion to be an extremist in?
Of course, no, first and foremost, we cannot delimit that radicalization only is baited only by religion. Today we have far right movements and whatever not right? So race is issue, nationalities, countries. You have non-state actors, you have state actors. So it's not only religion that causes people to be radical.
Okay.
So that is understandable. So the study of terrorism today is not only on religion, it is also on race, on other parts. Even we have animal rights terrorism now.
Yeah.
Right? People fighting for that, for vegan rights, this kind of thing. So looking at those tendencies, so we understand that humans have that capacity to be violent.
Yes.
So it's as simple as that. So the basis of a terrorist is that they use violence as an advocate to their cause. Right? So in whatever term, violence can be present, right? So our job is to balance that we do not become a violent person, right, in life.
Okay. And how do you do that? So now there's Muslim A, Muslim B. Okay,
Exactly.
for example, right?
Interesting.
And let's take Muslim B as the extremist group. And now you are Muslim A lah. When you speak to these people, are there correlations between what we learn and what they learn?
Of course.
Okay.
Correlation in the sense that there are principles that all Muslim adhere to, right?
Yeah.
We have Rukun Islam, the 5 pillars of Islam, the 6 pillars of Iman. These kind of things are understandable, understood globally in the sense that is the usul, the basis of what Islam is, right? But at the same time, then interpretation comes into picture, right? So you have the Quran. It's an open book, right? So how do we understand the Quran in that sense? Without us going back to how the 1500 years of ulama looking at it, right? So your question is like, how do people?
Okay, so first of all, now if like say I'm one of them, right? How do you bring me back?
Okay. So the thing is, first we look into concepts.
Okay.
First into concepts, like for example, we were talking about bay'ah, right? Bay'ah is an Islamic concept.
Okay.
It happens in the time of the Prophet. So the Prophet, when there were people who came to meet him in groups, clans, they were meeting him. So there were these pledges of allegiance. Bay'ah means pledge of allegiance. Allegiance to what? To Islam, to the Prophet, to Allah. Right? In terms of what? In terms of that they pledge to the Prophet that they will pray, for example. They would pay zakat, for example, these kind of things, to fight in the cause of the Prophet and Allah at that time, in the context of what happens then, right? So these kind of concepts, they understood it today within their political agendas, within their misconstrued understanding of those concepts. So this is how we address it. This is what we need to address it.
Yeah. Don't you think it's so scary, right? Because, I mean, again, right now we're living in an era of social media. Now, I'm not sure who is the leader of this entire thing. Who is the leader of Islam B? You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like...
B.
Yeah.
There's like a certain group.
Like, I don't want to put these two side by side, right? But okay, let's say in the context of Singapore, in Islam A, we know Muiz leads it, right? So everything we okay, we listen to Muiz and everything. Who leads Islam B?
So that's why we have ISIS.
Yeah.
That's why we have Jemaah Islamiyah. So we have other small Jemaah Ansarud Daulah, all these small little who have their own group of people who adhere to their own political agendas and aims. So those people are defining it for those particular schools. On a global scale now, online, if you want to go into understanding radicalization or to understand radical groups, right? You can see ISIS, for example, they have their own pages, they have their own Instagram pages and all this. There's one case in Indonesia, for example, this lady, she went to a particular Instagram page, the diary of some Muslim or something like, I forgot the name. So she was so captivated by that particular page that she decided to migrate to Syria with about 28 of her family members. Because she thought by looking through that, believing that the utopian Islamic State is alive in Syria. So she actually brought her father, her mother, grandmother and all this to migrate from Indonesia to Syria. And they reached Syria to that extent that, and she's now back in Indonesia after living 2 or 3 years there. She ran away from ISIS.
Oh, she ran away from
After seeing the reality. So how what they see online is not real, right, in the sense of what it is, right? So there's a lot of stories that she's telling people now, like whatever that you see online might not represent the truth. This is the danger of online, is that we are in a show, right? We are trying to speak on a particular topic, right? Of course, it's words, right? The words in Islam is about words and deeds, right? So sometimes our words does not equate to the deeds that we perform. Right? So we are living in this kind of times. When people then met Rasulullah SAW, for example, right? So his words equates to his deeds. So you see the real person. The real means it is understood as the word is represented by months or years of performing that particular act. Right? So today that's why we have fake news, right? We have fake realities, right? So the real, as we understand it now, could be only in terms of words. So it has not been interpreted into years of performing it, right?
Social media has made it so easy for these kind of resources to be available to anyone. And so, with your years of experience, are there certain traits that you see in people that make them more likely to be radicalized?
First, where do we learn Islam from?
From schools, from Quran.
I think this is an important first stage in terms of determining that we need to learn Islam from rightful speakers of Islam. Right? So, because there will come a time in our life that we will search back for our identity. That's who humans are. It's not only Muslims.
100%.
Right? Everybody will want, you'll get tired of doing whatever you're doing, right? So you'll come a time where you want to see, want to feel real in that sense, So you want to feel you, right? So part of that ability of faith is bringing you back to who you are. So in Ramadan, for example, we will go for Idul Fitri, right? Why it is called Idul Fitri is because the 30 days of Ramadan has sort of cast away the plasticity in us so that we become real, right? Fitrah, we return back to that fitrah, right? So first we need to understand that we need to inculcate people with rightful understanding, education of Islam. So for those who have not received that, so that is the first stage that we need to be aware of for ourselves, that who I learn Islam from is critical. If you get to learn Islam from something or somebody that is not representing the whole community, be aware. You have to be aware because it's not as simple as, so the logical question is, why is he not represented in the community? Right? Why is he creating his own? Right? So that is the basic question that we need to ask ourselves first before engaging into believing this. So in Islam interpretation, there's a lot of schools, right? We know that. But at the same time, there's a mainstream school representing the bigger masses, right? So why not follow that? So that is the thing that we as individuals seeking for truth needs to be, walking on the biggest path rather than choosing the,
What's the size of? Okay, sorry. How often has this happened? So let's say, I don't know, 1 million Muslims in Singapore, right? How big is this group of?
It is so small, alhamdulillah. It is so small, but one is a problem.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So because that one, if you do not address it, it can, because the idea of radicalization is that it is about da'wah, it is about sharing, it's about networking. So if you do not cut it to the roots, you're allowing that radical thoughts to be accepted as normal.
Yeah.
So even if the number is less than 100, for example, Singapore, I guess, right? 100, less than 100 in terms of these people are already under the eyes of law, right? So this 100, they will have wives, they would have children, they would have family members, right? So if we look from the bigger picture of the Muslim community in Singapore, it's still about 0.001%. I would believe so, right? But for us, it is still something that you have to,
No, 100%.
Yeah, you have to curtail it to one particular spot and bring them back to understanding it as how the bigger masses understands it. You know?
Have you ever met an individual that you think it's impossible to unradicalize them?
Of course. Because the process of radicalization takes a long time. De-radicalization takes a longer time. It's not easy to change a person's thought, right?
Yeah.
So the biggest challenge is that if that person do not see us as speakers of Islam, right?
Yeah.
So they think whatever they have learned is the truth, right? It's only the law that caught them.
Yeah.
But the Islam is still what they believe in.
Yeah.
So, so rehabilitation is a process that we try to walk together with them. We know that we cannot change them. It's just providing them alternatives of what the bigger picture is all about.
Yeah.
So there are cases that people who do not want to talk to us.
Yeah. That's true.
So it's not an easy
But what's
process.
the main belief that you find it very hard to change in them?
Because they believe the truth is how they interpret Islam. So you are seen as hypocrites. When we meet them, they would think us, Ustaz is hypocrite. Ustaz, you Ustaz government. This kind of thing. Because we are working with ministries to go into detention centers.
Yeah.
We don't hold the keys to the detention centers, right? Of course, we have to work with. We're not working for. We're working with the government. But they see us as Ustaz government or Ustaz hypocrite, because we talk about the Singapore context. To them, Islam is not limited to a place. Right? It's the ummah.
Yeah. Mas Lama is one of them. Yes?
Yeah.
JI, right? He's
Yep.
JI.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Do you meet him?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I think that would be a really good story if
Yeah.
you actually met.
But one thing I think you need to understand in terms of how we deal it in Singapore is that we do not advertise names.
Okay.
And we do not
beep that
of
out.
course
Shine.
because until now, for example, you were not born during 9/11, right? For example, right? You will not even know the faces of those who were caught in Singapore.
Yeah.
Can you give me a name other than Mas Lamat? Mas Lamat was caught on the basis of what he did after detention, right?
Yeah.
But those who have been detained until now, nobody knows who they are. Why does the government take that step? Because Singapore, we want their families who are not detained to integrate as well as the others,
Yeah.
Just imagine my son is termed as the son of a terrorist. How would he be able to?
It's harder for him to integrate into society after that.
So I think this is the beautiful picture of how we do it in Singapore, which some people don't see it as right in that sense, right?
Yeah.
So the story like Mas Lamat becomes so huge because of what he did. At the same time, the work for the past 20-25 years have been going on in silence, and people have left detention centers, reintegrated back into society with the families, this kind of things.
Yeah.
I think in this line, in this career, it takes a lot of empathy as well, right?
Exactly.
Was there any instance where it really impacted you? Or any
As a
individual
person? Myself.
that when you listen to their story, it really impacted you?
Yeah, I think every human relationship, like every human conversations that we have, there's always something new to learn, right? Because you're dealing with a human who's in search of something,
Yeah.
right? So there's a lot of stories that, of course, you are there as religious counselors like in that sense. But at the same time, the greater thing is that you are there as another human being.
Yeah.
In trying to understand why are you doing this, So there are cases, those that have touched us is that, after meeting them in detention, we still meet them after they're released. So these are like stories when they are released, they say, Ustaz, thank you, Ustaz, for the past few years. If let's say you have not met us there inside, I don't know what will happen to me. Like now they call us like macam abang, like brothers,
Yeah.
You were there when nobody else were there, So those are kind of things. So the gratification in terms of doing it is that you see people change.
Right.
But it's not through you, it's through the system, it's through how they themselves reflect. Because if I have the magic wand, to anyone I talk, everybody will change, right?
Yeah.
But I don't have that. I know there are people who don't want to listen to me too.
Yeah.
So you see, like, these episodes, people change.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, I'm so interested in this conversation because I look at them as human first, and I think the main problem is not even religion, right? I think the main problem is really loneliness. And I think it's a problem that needs to be solved first, because that's the reason why they find where they belong. And in that process of finding, that pursuit of finding, comes Islam B, right? And they go like,
Yeah.
I see the people believing in Islam B, I can relate to them.
Yeah.
They sound exactly like, or rather what they're going through sounds exactly like what I'm going through.
Yeah.
I'm doing that. Yeah. And
I think like it's just individuals trying to find a sense of community, and then they stumble upon resources that actually help to empower them and help to enable their thoughts, perhaps.
And I think it's just so unfortunate that these people are Muslims. I'm not sure if there are also extremist groups in other religion.
Yeah. There are cases in Singapore already.
Yeah.
There's a young guy who wanted to go to Masjid Yusuf Ishaq and wanted to stab as many Muslims as possible. He's a Christian.
I saw that. Yeah.
He's a guy. Yes, that's what I think about 2 years ago. Wanted to go there because he saw the act in New Zealand.
Right, the Christchurch.
Yeah, Christchurch. So he wanted to emulate that in Singapore.
Yeah.
So we're not saying it's Islam only. As you mentioned, loneliness is part of it. At the same time, the time that we're living in now, there's this idea of we can attain perfection. There's this idea that life is syurga lah Melayu cakap, is heavenly, like that is possible. Happily ever after is possible. I think that also kills it, because the reality of life as being a place of hardship, of trials and tribulation, of difficulties. Sometimes we want to run away from that fact. But it's the truth. Right? So how do we go against that? Or what are the guidelines that we have? What are the things in our haversack that we bring for us to cross the bridge, right, safely? So sometimes we look at life too perfect in that sense,
Yeah.
So when let's go back a little bit to the Prophet, right, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. During his time, those people who came to meet him, the companions, right, were not perfect beings. Omar wanted to kill him. There were so many cases, right? But he showed them the path of imperfections, reaching perfections. But perfection is not here, you see. It's the process of finding who you are. So Islam provides that.
Right.
The Prophet was the example. Right?
Speaking of which, so now it comes down to the question, how do you tell when someone is an extremist versus a very religious leader, or like a religious person?
Okay, if you learn traditional Islam, means there are sciences that we need to learn Islam.
Yeah.
Right? At the same time, when you learn extreme Islam, they do not have sciences, but they have concepts. So when it is misconstrued, cut and paste, you don't get the whole picture of what the building of Islam is. You have to be careful there.
Okay.
So it's about learning first. Number two is your absolute belief in one particular figure. Like he's the, So this kind of, we are not saying that he's wrong or not, but this tendency for us to want to find the ultimate one,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So because Imam Bukhari learned from thousands of teachers,
Yeah.
Imam Shafi'i learned from thousands of teachers, our teachers learn from thousands of teachers.
Yeah.
The process of learning is not to one. It's not possible, right? Religion is an ocean, right?
Yeah.
You not possible to learn from one.
I guess to say this is like if they start worshipping someone alive and they think that this is the
right
yeah
way.
the
utopian
my
lah. It is too utopian in that sense.
Right.
So it's about learning from many.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what an interesting conversation. I wish we can continue this, but unfortunately we are running out of time. Thank you so much, Ustad. Hopefully we can bring you back for another episode where we can unpack this even more.
Yes.
Honestly, this is so interesting to me. If you guys are watching this at home, I hope you guys learned a lot, because I learned a lot. Especially with what the Ustad said. I think we can help spot some behaviors of these people who might go into radicalization. Of course, when you approach them, don't be so rude. Maybe try to understand them a little bit, why they are looking for this exact person, for example. We will leave your contact number below. I mean, just in case, right?
They can go to www.rrg.sg. So we have our page, They can contact us.
Right.
Yeah, so if you would like to contact him, we will leave his details in the description box below. Again, thank you so much, Ustad.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully we can get you on another episode.
Sure.
To the people watching at home, please do not go anywhere, because we will be back with our own reflections.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the segment where we explore the why, how and what behind PERTAPIS. My name is Dino Rahim.
And my name is Razi.
And salam Ramadan to all our audience.
Oh yeah.
Make sure you fast. You don't go to the toilet, then take the water pipe, then you drink. Cannot. Because last time I did that.
Yeah, there are people who did that.
Yeah. No, don't do that. Okay. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the Weekly Dean Show supports PERTAPIS and their meaningful mission. Do consider supporting their meaningful work through your zakat. So you can pay zakat through their website at pertapis.org.sg. Our community, our responsibility, give zakat. So for this segment, we are with Dr. Arthur Chain, Executive Director of the Food Bank Singapore, driving food security, waste reduction and CSR partnership with 25 plus years of leadership across banking education.
Actually, no need so much lah. Just Arthur from the food bank.
Oh yeah, okay. So sorry, because
No, all good.
your role is super important. I mean, you are another party that supports PERTAPIS, right? The Food Bank Singapore. So can you just share with us what is Food Bank?
Yeah. So first time I hear about Food Bank.
Food Bank big already,
Yalah.
So how long have you been doing this?
Yeah, so the Food Bank Singapore is an IPC registered charity, and we've been operating for the last 13 years. In fact, this year is our 14th year of operations.
I see. Congratulations, man.
No, thank you. It's definitely an achievement.
Right.
So what we do as the Food Bank is that there's a couple of things that we do, but the three main things that we do, one is that we actually rescue surplus food. So if you think about Singapore imports a whole lot of food from various different countries into Singapore.
Yeah.
And then there's always excess food, because foods that can't be sold, there's foods that's potentially has the wrong packaging color, so it gets returned to sender.
Like defect products.
Not necessarily defect, but more defect around the packaging side of things.
It's not the food.
Yeah.
Because the food go inside the stomach must be the nice food lah.
And I'll share a really good example here with you, bro. So for example, going back a few months ago, there was a really, really amazing food importer. They brought in a lot of chocolates. And the chocolates was actually meant to go on shelves. But unfortunately, the food importer, they forgot to print the halal logo. Because of that, precisely, alamak. So because of that, you are
my
not able
auntie
to
want
sell.
to eat. No halal, cannot eat.
That's right. So rather than food being goes to waste or gets sent to the landfill or incinerator, it actually gets donated to us at the food bank. And what we do is that we work with different charities and we explain why that happens. And we actually donate the food to communities that are what we call low-income families or vulnerable members of our community who actually get to enjoy the food. So this is why the food comes to us. We rescue the food and we connect the surplus food to beneficiaries who require food.
Right.
So that's one of the things that
So
we
how
do.
long you been with PERTAPIS?
We've been supporting PERTAPIS probably, you know what, bro? I would say at least the last 5 years that we've been supporting PERTAPIS through a range of programs and initiatives that we have at the food bank. So what we do is that we get food from various different sources, from food importers, F&B providers, food distributors, and also from members of the public. So we have boxes that are outside various different shopping centers, supermarkets, and members of the public can actually buy food or bring excess food from the home to leave it in those boxes and our team will go collect it.
Oh.
So we have a wide range of food products. In fact, I think from memory, we have at least about maybe 25,000 different, what we call SKU, or different food products.
Wow.
I know, it's quite amazing, isn't it? And then what we do is that our partners at PERTAPIS, we actually invite them to tell us what food they want. So if you think of us as having a big website, we open up our website to PERTAPIS and some of our other 27 different food charity partners.
Right.
So they select the food that they want, because we want to make sure that we connect the surplus food to the needs.
Right.
Yeah, and then what our amazing team will do is that we'll deliver the food through to PERTAPIS. So this is one of the two programs that we offer. Second program that we offer is that if there are beneficiaries who actually want food bundles, so we work with various different corporate organizations who say, hey, I want to donate 100 food bundles. So typically, there's anywhere between, say, 8 to 10 items in every food bundle.
Right. And there must be a Milo inside, right?
There's always a Milo inside, or biscuit, or beefood, or what.
Finally, there's Milo.
Oh, Milo, you know what? Milo is consumed by all members of his community.
Right. So from your experience, I just want to ask, a bit curious, why is food assistance still a critical need in Singapore in 2026? What is your take?
And I get this question a lot. And you know what? In all societies, doesn't matter it's a developed or developing country, there are always pockets or individual or demographic who need our support. And sometimes it's not just the aunties or uncles or people with disabilities. And you know what? It can affect all of us. People have lost their jobs, sadly, people who are unwell.
Yeah.
And then, they've fallen on hard times. So there are always pockets of community who require food support. And sometimes this is where food charities come in place. What we do is that we try to minimize food wastage. We actually help to improve Singapore's food sustainability. But then you know what? If we can do good, by connecting the surplus to those who need, why not? We help to make a difference.
Right.
Okay, one another curious, I've been wanting to ask. Okay, usually every year there will be an increment in terms of the beneficiaries. We always ask the NGOs, especially the PERTAPIS, they always share with us there's a lot of increment. Like every year there will be increment beneficiaries. Like, why is that so? Like, why is that every year there will be people who are in need? So what's your take on that?
You know what? If you ask me, I think this is a good thing. I think this is a good thing, not necessarily in a negative context, but the reality is that people nowadays are more comfortable to put their hands up to say that, hey, I need help, I need support. And if individuals were to put their hands up to say, I need food, I need support, why not help them? Because we need to recognize their courage for saying that I need help. And I think as a country, as a society, this is actually quite good because we've got individuals who are actually more willing to reach out. And as a food charity, if we can help, we will help.
I see.
Is there any changes in demand of food? Maybe last year people like Milo, maybe this year people change. Is there any trend?
I would say with Milo is always consistent.
Yeah,
always goes up.
It's a household brand.
And sardine. The
sardine.
Yes. Okay, is there any changes in terms of food demand?
So I started with the food bank in the middle part of 2024, and I recall vividly. That's right. In 2024, as an organization, and it's a small team of 13 people that we have at the food bank. So in 2024, we redistributed 612,000 kilograms of food. So 612 tons of food. So that's a lot of food that we distributed. But you know what? Last year, as in 2025, we increased this amount by almost 15%. And we've exceeded over 700,000 kilograms of food. So this 700,000 kilograms of food could have gone into landfill or,
incinerated,
and it's wasted. So why not put it to good use, to connect this surplus food with communities who require this food.
Still with around 13 staff?
Yes, 13 staff.
And still managed to deliver more than 15% for this year.
Yeah, that's right. Wow. So that's right. So you should check out the team. There's small people but big hearts.
Very committed, big hearts, yes.
So I think last question before we end this conversation. For me, I should put this question at the top, but it's okay. So, what inspires you to do this? Have you experienced any moment, or you seen something that I think we should help,
Yeah.
I just want to add up to this question.
You want to add up?
You're doing this full time?
Yes, I do. I do this full time. It's my full time job. That's right.
Okay. Yeah. So why you want to do this? Like, what motivates you?
Yeah, I think there's a range of personal and professional reasons for this. I think for one is that I've spent a long time living overseas. In fact, I just came back to Singapore just less than 2 years ago. I lived overseas for almost 30 years.
Wow.
And I think for me, coming back to Singapore, this is a really good opportunity for me to reintegrate back into the Singapore community by working for an NGO, for a food charity.
Right.
So you get to see various different facets of life. But you know what? One of the bonuses of my job is that I get to go around various different parts of Singapore, check out the hawker center, check out where the good food is, and of course to meet many amazing people across Singapore. And this is definitely one of the perks. But more to the point, I think this is an opportunity for me to actually get to see society as it has developed over the last 30 years.
Right.
But from a professional point of view, why not? Why not work for a charity? You know, if you can connect your passion to do good, but also have an opportunity to put to use my corporate skills, you know, having worked for various different corporate organizations. This is where we can actually connect, you know, the past experiences to say, hey guys, you know, if I speak to donors, speak to beneficiaries, I say, hey guys, you know, this is us, you know, at the end of the day, we are who we are, you know, we are all members of society. Doesn't matter if you live in landed property, condo or HDB or rental HDB units. At the end of the day, we are all part of the wider Singapore community. The narrative is all the same. So for us, you know, supporting PERTAPIS is the natural thing to do.
So I just want to add, pardon me if I speak in Malay a bit. You know, saudara-saudari yang sedang menonton audience right now, if you can see, you know, pendapat ataupun pegangan daripada setiap agama, bagi saya macam tadi, Dr. Arthur ni adalah seorang yang bukan Islam, tapi dia mempunyai satu pegangan iaitu give back adalah satu benda yang indah, cantik, mulia, right? So why not? As a Muslim who are watching this right now, mungkin ada rasa malu sikit kalau kita tak buat apa-apa untuk bantu orang Islam kita sendiri. Yang bukan Islam dapat membantu orang Islam, apatah lagi orang kita yang menganuti agama Islam sekarang ini. Dan dalam bulan Ramadan lagi pastinya bulan yang mana Tuhan akan memberikan lagi banyak ganjaran. Kalau bulan-bulan yang lain dia punya ganjaran mungkin double aja, tapi mungkin ini triple, times 4, times 10 and whatsoever, right? So this is the time where, you know, we open up our mind. Tak salah kalau kita kasih $10, $100, $200 even untuk PERTAPIS yang akan menjalankan, memperbaiki keadaan orang-orang Islam kita. Jadi ayuh kita sedekahkan zakat, kita letak zakat kita pada tempatnya, iaitu PERTAPIS. And once again, the Weekly Deen Show supports PERTAPIS and their meaningful mission. And of course, do consider, jangan fikir macam nak consider. I mean, like, if you're watching this right now, I think it's dia satu macam takdir lah. Kau nampak macam, this is a time for me to do good. This is like a calling for you to do good, to help PERTAPIS. So, pay your zakat through their website, pertapis.org.sg, and maybe you have you know, some quotes or motivation for the people out there to keep on contributing.
Yeah, well, probably just as a final message is that it's all about our community, the people who live, you know, amongst us, you know, in our own community, and let's all put together our efforts and make a difference.
Our community, our responsibility, give zakat.
Definitely.
Dear friends, we are coming now to the middle of Ramadan. A few questions that you should ask yourself now. How has Ramadan been so far? How's our ibadah? How's our fasting? How's our communication with Allah? And how is our relationship with Allah and the people of Allah around us? Have we been closer to Allah or otherwise? In Sha'ban, I shared with you a meaningful dua. And that was, Allahumma barik lana fi Rajab wa Sha'ban wa ballighna Ramadan. And Ya Allah, deliver us to the month of Ramadan. So now we are in the month of Ramadan. So what dua, Ustaz, can we recite in seeking blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala azza wa jalla? One such dua that you can recite, and inshallah I'll be teaching you and sharing with you today, is Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. Sounds simple, you might have heard it during your Tarawih sessions, but what does it mean? Ya Allah, for verily you are the forgiver and you love to forgive, Ya Allah, so forgive me, Ya Allah. And you are seeking forgiveness from Allah. And you are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow you to repent and to accept your repentance. So this is the nights where you stand up in prayer to Allah. You have your hands up in the sky, in the air, and asking from Allah, Ya Allah, Please, Ya Allah, bless us. Please, Ya Allah, forgive us. I make dua that as we reach the middle of Ramadan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala azza wa jalla accept our ibadahs and forgive us of our past sins and mistakes. Ameen. Ya Rabbal Alameen. Dear friends, we know that the Weekly Deen Show is strongly supporting PERTAPIS and their great and amazing work. So let us continue in the month of Ramadan to support them and to be part of their meaningful mission to support our community and society. So log on to pertapis.org.sg to find out more on how you can be part of their meaningful and great work. With me, Ustaz Fizar Zainal, signing out. Ma'as-salama.
And that was such an insightful discussion with the Ustad. So now I have a question for reflection. Dew, what is something new that you learned today?
I don't think it's new, but I think I always understood loneliness is the cause of a lot of things, right? And I think what people understand that loneliness causes, for example, suicide, for example, self-hurt and whatever it is, right? I never knew radicalization is one of them.
I don't think it's because people don't really talk about it.
Yeah.
It's not a topic of discussion for many, right?
And I think it's such a big issue that we need to solve this. Not so much we need to solve it, but
it exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, it exists.
And how can we help as normal human beings? Because therapy is expensive, right?
Yeah. And I cannot imagine the discussions that they have with their therapists about radicalization. I mean, what do therapists even talk about when it comes to this, right?
And I guess this is really the dark side of religion, right? Because we are taught that, when we feel lonely, when we need a sense of belonging, we find religion, right? And religion connects us with other people and everything. It's so dangerous that when the hunger of wanting to belong becomes so huge, we tend to not see which is the truth and which is not.
I think that's a really interesting point about the dark side of religion, because usually when people are mentally ill or when they are mentally weak, a lot of people think just go to therapy or just do some recreational activities. But not many people talk about the possibility of someone being radicalized or using religion as a way against other religious beliefs or like other people who are religious, for like for example, getting influenced by radicalization on social media.
Yeah.
And I think one scary thing about today's society is that resources and videos are so accessible now.
Yeah.
Like you can literally search up on Google. Please don't. You can just, everything is at the tip of your fingertips. And so I think the surge of self-radicalization is really, it's at an all-time high, I would say.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, what do you think a Singaporean Muslim can do to protect themselves from radicalization?
Well, I'm no pro at this, but at the top of my head,
Or in general?
I think hang out with other races.
Yeah.
I think if you're you hang out, you keep hanging out with the same races. I mean, the topic keeps coming up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And when the topic keeps coming up, you keep having a discussion of Islam and everything. And let's say like what we discussed, Islam A, Islam B. If I keep discussing about, if my group of friends keep discussing about Islam A, I would find reasons to believe in Islam B.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
If
because
that makes sense.
curiosity kills the cat. You want to find out what other beliefs exist outside of your mentality.
Yeah.
And perhaps if you feel like a sense of belonging in that other group, then that increases the chance of being radicalized.
Yeah. So
I think at the end of the day, I think it's just finding a sense of community. I think that one we can all empathize. Perhaps the reason, it might not be a cause of causation for radicalization, of course, but community is a huge thing that everyone can empathize with. Everyone wants to find a sense of belonging. And I think what's important is that we protect ourselves and really be intentional with the content that we consume. Not only that, but to just look out for your friends or your family members that perhaps might show signs of loneliness or mental health issues, because this might snowball into something way worse that we might not even think of.
Yeah. And like what the Ustad said also, I mean, like right now we don't know which is true common sense, right?
That's true, yeah. There's no really middle ground.
That's why the communities that you hang out with are very important, because that's where common sense come about.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I think at the end of the day, all we have to do is really protect ourselves from the media that we consume, and to just find a sense of belonging. So to the seekers out there, ask your questions, be curious, but do it in light or with your local asatiza who knows the context in Singapore. So with that, thank you so much for watching our discussion today. And before we end off, we'd like to say that the Weekly Deen Show supports PERTAPIS and their meaningful mission. So this month, Ramadan, do consider supporting their meaningful work. Check them out at pertapis.org.sg.